Hi everyone, I'm Courtney O'Neill Allen with GovExec TV and host of 5 Questions here at AUSA. I'm so excited to be joined by my guest today, Doug Orellana, who serves as the Vice President of Intelligent Engineering for MANTECH. Welcome, Doug.
Oh, thank you, Courtney.
So, as we look at the Army and the last couple of years, we've been focused on transformation and modernization. Can you talk to me about how MANTECH's methodical approach and expertise in DevSecOps is helping meeting that mission need right now with the Army?
Yeah, sure thing. I mean, over the last few years, we've been investing on a holistic DevSecOps process. So not only includes the software pieces, but looking at the hardware, right? Because at the end of the day, on the field, you have real hardware.
Right.
So how do we actually transform from concept to a deliverable product on the field? So we're marrying digital twinnings, software factory type of technologies together to get capability out the door. That way you're seeing progress along the way, creating those continuous integration points and deployment points to build those prototypes, make sure that it actually works for the field and the warfighter, and getting that capability to that warfighter as soon as possible.
Much needed support there. With that being said, could you describe then MANTECH's most significant contributions and solutions maybe to help the Army achieve data dominance in those tactical environments at the edge?
Sure, I mean today we're looking at both from the communications perspective as well as the data AI piece, because at the end of the day, the data is the asset that we all care for.
Right.
And if we can't transport it from one area to the other, it becomes useless. So we're working today with some partners to integrate wireless optical communications at the edge where we have direct line of sight with very small amount of footprint from outside adversaries trying to track that communication point. So we have built a wireless optical communication that creates a combat cloud that allows us to get data from point A to point B. Now, once that data is in those points, we can then actually go make action with that data, whether it's decisions or actually analyzing the data for decisions to be made. So we have platforms in our arsenal of data AI that allows us to make those decisions by creating different agents that either look at signal processing, if it is RF type of data, or if it's some other type of data, we can definitely take that data into our platforms and assess it to make those decisions.
So war-winning capabilities at the edge. I'm sure the Army appreciates your partnership, and through the years, MANTECH has also supported that transformation as it relates to people and talent. Could you talk to us a little bit more about how MANTECH has served in that way?
Sure thing. I mean, MANTECH is about 50% veteran. So even from the top down, our CEO, he's a veteran. He's very focused on getting veterans into MANTECH because not only do they know the mission, but it hits home with them as well as all the other folks in our company. So we partner with the government and with the military services to bring people in through SkillBridge, which is a government program that prepares our warfighter to come into civilian life and get them prepared for industry. So not only do we kind of give them those internships, but as we transition them into MANTECH for real jobs, we have tons of educational opportunities where they can get their bachelor's for free. We also have various certification challenges so they can get those certs that are necessary for those areas that they're working on, whether it's cyber, cloud, or any of the other emergent areas. On the other front, right, talent is a huge critical piece to all of America's dominance.
Yes.
And it really starts at those lower level education. So we have programs with local Virginia schools to build that cyber talent of the future. So we start in high school, walk them through all the way to college. And so by the time they get to college, not only are they prepared to be a cyber engineer, but they also have the clearances necessary to be a cyber engineer on day one. Right?
That's awesome. And that's always I think a big challenge when you're applying to those roles. You don't have that security clearance, so that's really great that you're helping bridge that gap.
Well, and if you get them early, right, the process is a lot easier. So.
Yeah, for sure. So again, as we talk about, supporting the Army's priorities, one of theirs is scaling counter small unmanned aerial systems and EW capabilities. How has MANTECH supported that mission? So,
I mean, we first start with the modeling simulation of the environments and how we can counter those smaller UAS systems as well as EW in terms of managing the spectrum in those areas, as well as how can we counter that and really look at non-kinetic effects, whether it's cyber or whether it's electronic warfare. On top of that, we are taking an approach of actually building those small UASs and 3D printing them. So now
wow.
not only do we actually try to counter them, but we're also building them so we understand what is that process, and we can actually deliver those type of capabilities to the warfighter at a lesser cost, because now we're 3D printing them, we can print them at scale, and then we can add different payloads as necessary to meet those needs in the field.
That's wonderful. Looking ahead, where does MANTECH stand in terms of making sure that the Army remains at the advantage ahead of the adversary?
So we have internally, we're using data AI every day, all day, right? At this point in time, if you're not using it, you're behind, right?
You're behind, yeah.
So today we are looking at what we currently have from capabilities as a US, and we are running ModSim on that to look at those adversary models and say, hey, how can we counter that? And what technologies are out there from whether that we build them or our partners build them, to really see how can we use technology different to take non-traditional approaches to how we meet those needs, and how do we defend that in those adversary areas.
Well, Doug, thank you so much for joining us again. I could talk to you all day about all of the great work that MANTECH is doing and helping ensure that those war-winning capabilities stay in the warfighter's hands.
Well, thank you again, Courtney, and at MANTECH we're always advancing, so we're glad to be a partner of the Army.
For sure. And that's today's 5 questions. I'm your host, Courtney O'Neill Allen. Don't forget to follow us on YouTube at GovExec Plus. Have a great day.